Everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're watching Christian Adventure Gamer. I'm your host, Daniel the Paladin. In this video, we are doing exactly what it says. We're going through my top 10 anticipated games, or most anticipated games of Gen Con 2024. Again, I know it's late. Like we are crouching on the eve of Gen Con, right? Like we are in the week of Gen Con, right? So I will be at Trade Day on Gen Con 2024. And so, we are 2 days away from me being on the spot there at Trade Day, and then 4 days of awesomeness of gaming, right? And so, wow. All I can say is wow about this year. There are a ton of games coming out. There are a lot of games that I was really interested that was for demo, so they were not included in this list, right? The games I added to this list were ones that you could potentially buy at Gen Con based on the information that's on the Gen Con 2024 preview, right, on BGG. And so there's a lot of games that I made a list for to check out, right? So I'm actually compiling that list into data sheets. That way I can take it with me at a Gen Con and check them off as I've checked out the game or did hopefully a little snippet, right? Not another, a little snippet, a video. But however, let's just go ahead and dive in here, right? And so my number 10 that's on my list is Gnome Hollow. So this was kind of a surprise. This is one I kind of blew by, but that I've seen other people kind of talking about it, and I started taking more look. Let's say a bigger look at it, right? Like I've been able to go through the different pictures and see some of the reviews and things like that. I think this is something that would be good for my game group. In this game, you are actually trying to connect rings. So I'll give an example here. You have these rings that you're creating here, which allows you to, right, put things there or gather things. So I don't want to go into depth just because I want to make this video a little short and sweet, at least as much as I can. But that is my number 10, Gnome Hollow. This is a game that's done by The Op, right? And it's got an MSRP price point as of the geek preview of $50. And so that's one that looks interesting, right? And so I like this artwork here on this box, and I hope that's how the boxes come with the artwork. All right, next I have Mistwind. So this is one I've kind of walked by and looked at and hadn't really actually taken a chance to look at it, right? And so Mistwind actually has a lot of great components to it. And the board setup is very awe-dropping. Like, it's very beautiful. I mean, like, you look at the world map and it looks like an old, tattered, 2 to 3 color topographical kind of map. Maybe topographical isn't even the right word. But then you have like these whales with ships on their back that's flying through, and you got to feed them and things like that. So a lot of great components here. Like even look at that tray there. Everything just fits in nicely. Okay, and so Mistwind. It's kind of another surprise for me, but it says 1 to 5 players, plays in 75 to 120 minutes, ages 14 and up. It's a 3.9 on the weight scale. I'm not sure what that means as far as like the complexity, but I think this is something I would really enjoy. All right, the next one, number 8, is more of a kid game. It's a family-friendly game. It's Dodo, and so based on the video I watched earlier, like you have this magnetic, I'm assuming it's magnets inside of it that's going around this mountaintop, right? And you're trying not to let it fall, get broken. And so I think this would be a great game, not only for my family, but because I'm a counselor, it'd be a great game working with kids on timeliness and paying attention to things, detail, as you are trying to collect these little tokens to build the boat so you can save the egg. So I think that is great. And that one's got a price point of $35 at the show. And I forgot to say that Mistwind was done by First Fish Games, and that is a $90 price point. Okay, and then the Dodo is actually being sold by Cosmos, right? And the next one is Divinity Origins, Original Sin, the board game. I don't know why I said Origins for, but it's Divinity Original Sin. So this is a very big, when I say big, I mean heavy, right? It's a big box, it's heavy. adventure game, right? It's not so much a dungeon crawler as it's telling a story, and you're going through a role-playing game and a story, right? Here's some pictures of various expansions, right? So they got miniature packs and stuff. So they go from having the standees to miniatures here. Let's see here. And there's another picture of the miniatures, the heroes, right? Going through the city or whatever locations on the pages, right? I like the fact that it comes with a book. One thing I do understand is that it plays well multiple times. Like you might pick different choices and it might affect where you go in the game. So it's like this is part of your hero board here, but I'm not quite sure. So a lot of great components here. And that one is done by Lorien Studios, and it's got a price point of 150 bucks, which isn't bad because I was kind of doing some research, and the only other place I could see it for sale was Game Nerds, and they wanted 170. So you're actually saving money by getting it at the show, right? So if you are into heavy adventure games, this might be your thing. All right, then Flock Together is another little surprise game where you have a board of basically it's like you're a chicken coop, right? Yeah, you're a flock of chickens going through this world, right? Let's see if I can find a better picture of the actual world here. 35 images. You have, wonderfully done eggs. Apparently, this is their very first game that this company's ever done, and the components are just out of this world. Let's see here. There's no real good pictures. Okay, here. So you have where the chickens are inside the coop, right? And then you have the world outside of it. So you're going back and forth from inside the coop yard, right? The chicken yard to outside of it, doing things, trying to complete I don't know if complete quests is necessarily the right term, but you have monsters that you're trying to beat, or maybe not monsters, but different animals, right? Like wolf or owl or things like that. And they're you're eating grubs, you're gaining food, trying to get powerful. And so I think it was a nice surprise. Again, just the quality of these components, man. And they have like a turnstile little books that you level up here, and so it's just kind of neat. And that one is done by Sea Cow Games, right? And their MSRP is $84, at least according to the Geek Preview. On Miniature Market was the only other place I could find it, and they wanted $89 for it, so it's actually cheaper possibly to get it at Gen Con. All right, then the next one we have is Spin Masters that did Comic Hunters, right? So they're bringing Comic Hunters to Gen Con. So I believe this was originally a Portuguese game, right? Says publisher Arcane Wonders, Spin Masters Limited. And so this one, it's exactly what it is. You're hunting for comic books, trying to collect new and old comic books. And so I hope that this version is an English version, because the only one I've heard of is a Portuguese version, and it'd be hard for me to learn Portuguese. But like just looking at those Marvel comics there is just, I used to collect comics when I was younger. Like some of my favorite ones were Blade and Ghost Rider. Those are the comics I always sought after. That and Colossus. Like those were my favorite characters. And so just to see like some of those old comic books here is just kind of nostalgic. And so I like the idea of this game. And obviously I know other people that play or like to say like Marvel or collect Marvel comics. So this would be something up their alley as well. So this would be good for my game group. And Spin Masters has that for $25, and I could not find it online in the US for any price. So that sounds like something. Next up, this one is just a very beautiful game, Doggerland. And so the way I understand it is that you are a clan from around 15,000 BCE. Your goal is to expand your clan in order to leave a trace of its existence for centuries to come, right? And so it's like got that kind of Paleo-American kind of feel to it, right? You are hunting animals and trying to grow your, I guess, territories, maybe is that the right term? But look at these components, man. Like these are just amazing. I love the artwork here on these tiles. Let's see if I can find a better picture of the board. Something that's really big is like a really good setup. So here's the player boards here. So here's this, more of the board. Like this is like your player board here. So we got a lot of cool wooden components. I think the quality on this is going to be great. So that's Doggerland. And that one is MSRP of $80. Like this looks like a really, really big, heavy game. So I'm trying to see if I can't find a picture that shows maybe everything, right? So here's looks like the back of the box. It's done by Super Meeple. Actually, that was probably good. Best example of the game components and everything here. So, resource management, things like that. Territory, possibly worker placement. Obviously, you got little meeples and things that you're moving around, or at least icons, right? Like tents and things. So yeah, plays, and it says 30 minutes per player, 14 and up, 1 to 4 players. So this is one that's really piqued my interest. Okay. Next up, we have BA Games, and that's Forges of Ravenshire. I actually had an opportunity to play this, not Origins this year, but that was last year. I had to demo it. A really great game. Too bad there's not any pictures, man. So like it's got a lot of chunky bits to it. It's got a $70 price point at Origins. And I don't know if that's a deluxe version or if that's the standard version. I think the deluxe version comes with wooden pieces, tokens instead of the cardboard chits and stuff. So yeah. Next up, I have a Colossal Cat. Obviously, you can see in my order, right? Like it's just easier for me to go through this way. That way I can pull them all up. We have Colossal Cat in the box, right? This game is a trick-taking game. I want this version because of how chunky it is, how big it is. I've heard a lot of good things about the deluxe version, and this one is obviously bigger than that. So you have a little black cat that determines, who the first player is, or I should say the person that is first player takes the cat to represent that they are the first player. Then it's a trick-taking game, so you're trying to put your little markers on different spaces of the board, trying to gain the trick. So it's a trick-taking game. I can't really explain more, but I just love these components, and it looks really cool. And it's got a pretty good review on it, 7.9. Last but not least is Boop the Halls, right? I just love Boop Halloween, the Halloween one. Just to see these cats with ornaments or snow hats and scarves, like that's really cute. It'd be a great Christmas game to play as they are booping on the Christmas tree, things like that. So here's a good one. And then I heard, or I seen on Facebook that Smirk and Dagger Games is actually going to have some expansions for this particular game that has to do with like Charles Dickens, the Ghost of Christmas Past and stuff like that. So there's Ghost Christmas Cats or the carols, for that. And so this has a price point of $35 at the show. So hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry for the late videos and getting everything in, but those are my top 10. I'm really excited about this one. If I can, this might be the very first one I go for. So hey, thanks for tuning in. See you guys at Gen Con.